ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव। पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस्तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I welcome you to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. Today is June 14th, 2026. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 9, Mother Yaśodā binds Lord Kṛṣṇa. Actually, we completed reading the last two verses in our previous session. We read verses 22 and 23 and started discussing the commentary. So we saw that after Yaśodamayi tied Kṛṣṇa, what happened after that? Kṛṣṇastu gṛha-kṛtyeṣu vyagrāyāṁ mātari prabhuḥ adrākṣīd arjunau pūrvaṁ guhyakau dhanadātmajau. While Mother Yaśodā was very busy with household affairs, the Supreme Lord Kṛṣṇa observed twin trees known as yamala-arjuna, which in a former millennium had been the demigod sons of Kuvera. So, and then the next verse also, purā nārada-śāpena vṛkṣatāṁ prāpitau madāt nalakūvara-maṇigrīvāv iti khyātau śriyanvitau. In their former birth, these two sons, known as Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīva, were extremely opulent and fortunate, but because of pride and false prestige, they did not care about anyone, and thus Nārada Muni cursed them to become trees. So we were discussing the commentary on these two verses, the conclusion of this chapter. So in verse 22, we saw after Yaśodamayi died Kṛṣṇa, she became busy in household duties. Mātari gṛha-kṛtyeṣu vyagrāyāṁ. That means she became busy in household activities. Prabhuḥ means the Supreme Lord, Kṛṣṇa, pūrva. So why Prabhu? Because he is the Supreme Lord. And now now means the Supreme Lord, even though he's tied up by his mother. Kṛṣṇa is tied up by his mother, but still he's the Supreme Lord. Pūrvaṁ. Pūrvaṁ means he looked at the two yamala-arjuna trees and he's seeing their past. In their previous life, who were they? Guhyakau means in their previous life they had taken birth amongst the demigods. Who arjunau, the two trees, arjuna trees that are standing in front of him, these arjuna trees in their previous lives had taken birth amongst the demigods, and dhanadātmajau. At that time, they were the sons of dhanadātmajau. Dhanadātmajau. Dhanad means Kuvera. He is the treasurer of the demigods. If the demigods ever needed any money, they would go to Kuvera. Any wealth, if they needed, then he would provide them. He's the treasurer. That's why he's called Dhanad. So these two sons, yamala-arjuna trees, were the sons of Kuvera in their previous life. And adrākṣīd. Adrākṣīd means the Lord is seeing. So when the Lord looked at these two trees, he saw their past, that they were the sons of Dhanad or Kuvera. What else did the Lord see? So here you see, Prabhu is said. Prabhu Kṛṣṇa. Prabhu Kṛṣṇa. That is showing that even though he is tied by Mother Yaśodā, even though Kṛṣṇa becomes bound by the love of his devotee, he is tied, still he liberates others. So to explain this, now a new context is started. This new context that Kṛṣṇa is looking at these two Arjuna trees. So Sukadeva Goswami started this new context to explain this point, that even if he is bound, still he is the Supreme Lord and he liberates others. He can liberate others. So then what did the Lord see? That purā nārada-śāpena vṛkṣatāṁ prāpitau madāt nalakūvara-maṇigrīvāv iti khyātau śriyanvitau. So the Lord saw that these two, tau, in their past life, purā, were famous as Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīva. But because of being Shriyanvitau, Shriyanvitau means they were endowed with so much wealth and beauty, fortune. As a result of this, madāt, they became, mad means arrogance, pride. Because of that beauty and opulence, they became proud. And as a result of that, they were cursed by Nārada Muni, nārada-śāpena. By Narada's curse, now they have received these bodies of trees, vṛkṣatāṁ prāpitau. They received the bodies of trees. So this Kṛṣṇa was saying. So then we started discussing Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on this, that Kṛṣṇa is thinking the reason my mother was able to bind me is because I had become a debtor. I was in debt. My mother was able to bind me because I was in debt. Now I want to become free from this debt. So in order to become free from this debt, what should I do? ऋण से मुक्त होने के लिए मैं क्या करूं? ऐसा विचार कर रहे थे भगवान. He was thinking like this. And thinking like this, how can I become free from this debt? He looked at these two Arjuna trees that were in front of him. So then, further, in conclusion of this entire chapter, we started also discussing that the crest jewel amongst all Paramahamsas, Sri Sukadeva Goswami, is describing Krishna's pastime of being bound by the rope of Mother Yaśodā. And in this pastime, he is showing how Krishna is controlled by love. And also what is the greatness, the glory of the love of Yaśodamayi. What is the influence of the love of Yaśodamayi? How the Lord is controlled by love, the quality of Krishna's, the quality of Krishna's quality of being controlled by the love of his devotee. And what is the glory of Yaśodamayi's love? What is the influence of her love? These are described by Srila Sukadeva Goswami, who is the crest jewel of all Paramahamsas. After describing this Leela, now he is going to describe the next Leela. So the previous chapter, 9th chapter, has described, or this chapter has described, or Srila Sukadeva Goswami has described in this chapter, Yaśodamayi's glory, the glory of Yaśodamayi's love, and also Krishna's Vritya Vashyata, his quality of being controlled by his devotee, has been highlighted. And then now he is beginning, Srila Sukadeva Goswami is beginning the next chapter, the next Leela. He is inspired to describe the next Leela. Yaśodamayi, who is filled with Vatsalya Prema, tied Krishna around his belly with a rope, and then she tied the knot on his back. Then taking that rope around the motor, she tied another knot behind the motor so that child Krishna's hand cannot reach all the way behind the motor to open himself. He wouldn't be able to free himself. After tying Krishna like this, she became relieved, thinking in her mind that now this restless boy will not be able to run away from home. And also, he will learn a lesson because of this bondage. He will be fearful before committing any more mischievous deeds, such as stealing butter or breaking pots, etc. And then she also started thinking that, oh, my son hasn't eaten anything all day today. He must be really hungry. Let me go and make some arrangement for his meal. And all the work of the house also is not done because since early in the morning she was busy tying Krishna. So none of the work is done. And the maids are also not there because all the maids have gone for the preparation of Indra Puja the next day. And so much work she has at home. Thinking like this, she also told all the other gopis who had come to watch the fun. They were there watching the fun all day while she was tying Krishna, trying to tie Kṛṣṇa. And they were also bringing ropes from their homes. So she, thinking that, oh, there's so much work to do, and he's hungry, I have to make arrangements for his meal. Thinking like this, she began to speak with the gopis that, okay, now let us all, get back to our work. Let him stay like this, tied up. Let Kṛṣṇa stay tied up like this. And when the gopis received this order from Yaśodāmayi, even though they didn't want to leave, even though they wanted to stay, but because Yaśodāmayi ordered, they started leaving. At that time, Yaśodāmayi once again warned Kṛṣṇa that, or you can say kind of, challenging him or kind of scaring him, right? That yadi shaknoshi gaccha tvachare chanchala cheshtitam. This is from Vishnu Puran. Yaśodāmayi is saying, Are chanchal balak, मैं तुझे बांध कर जा रही हूं. यदि तुझ में शक्ति है तो इस बंधन को खोलकर मक्खन चुराने के लिए जा. That means, you restless boy, I am leaving you here tied up to this motor. If you are capable, if you think you have the capability, then you release yourself from this bondage and then you can go and steal butter. Saying this, she entered into the house and she became busy with her, housework. And the gopis who had come there, they were also fearful of Yaśodāmayi, because she said, now everyone just go and, you should also get to your work, right? You have things to do at home, like that. So one by one, they also started leaving. And at the time of leaving, they gave some instruction to Kṛṣṇa that, oh, blue jewel, Kṛṣṇa is called Nīlamani. Don't steal butter again. And don't break butter pots. Like that. They gave good instruction. See, that means you are tied up now. How much difficulty has come upon you? Because that's the intention. So basically what they said was, don't do this again. Don't steal butter and don't break butter pot. That means because of doing that, now you're in this difficulty. Don't do it again in future. Now, who is Kṛṣṇa? Kṛṣṇa's position is unlimited, numerous universes are controlled by his external energy. Innumerable conditioned souls, since beginningless, are controlled by him. They are in him. By his mercy, all the devotees in these unlimited universes as well as in the spiritual planets, Vaikuntha, they are all tied, bound by love to Kṛṣṇa. That means they are controlled by him, by his love. And by taking shelter of whose lotus feet, these conditioned souls, they immediately become liberated. Such Kṛṣṇa, that means he is controlling everyone. He is controlling all the conditioned souls. He is controlling all the devotees. And whoever is bound becomes liberated by taking shelter of his lotus feet. Such supreme controller is now bound by the robe of his mother Yaśodā. And standing in that lonely place because everybody had left, he's standing there alone. And he's making so many plans how to become free from that bondage. And in spite of all his plans, he's not able to free himself. After Yaśodāmayi had left, she entered, after she left that place and she went inside the house to do her work. His Krishna's friends, the cowherd boys, small boys, slowly they came close to him. So after everybody had left, the gopis had left, Yaśodāmayi was also gone, Krishna was standing alone. Then his small boys, Krishna's friends, they came slowly and stood near him. Then Krishna told them, my dear friends, if you make a little endeavor, if you try, then I can become free from this bondage. If you make some effort, I can become free from this bondage. My mother has tied me to this grinding motor. She tied my belly to the grinding motor. And my hand does not reach to the back of the motor. You can go behind the motor and open the knot. Then I can open up the knot which is behind my back. So first the knot behind the motor, the ukhal, has to be opened up. After, if you open that, because my hands are not able to go behind the motor. So if you go behind the motor and open that knot, then I can open up the knot which is behind my back. And then after opening myself, I'll go with all of you outside. And then all those other gopis who helped my mother by bringing ropes from their houses, along with all of you, I will go to their homes now and I will steal all the butter that is there in their house. And as many pots, there may be as many pots as there are in their homes, I will go and break all those pots now for helping helping my mother by bringing so many ropes to tie me. So Krishna's point is, just release me so that I can, because after you release, this is what I'm going to do. With all of you, I'm going to go outside and then I'll go to those gopis' homes and I will steal all butter that is there in their homes and I will break all the pots that are there. When the boys heard Krishna's words, slowly they went. Because if Yaśodāmayi sees, then they'll get yelled at. So very slowly they went behind the grinding motor. And they were fearful that Yaśodāmayi might not come. So they're just looking very fearfully. They went, and again they were turning around and looking towards the house, that she may not come out. Is she coming? Is she coming? Like that. And they tried, while looking at the door, slowly, very stealthily, they tried to open the knot behind the grinding motor. They were trying, but in spite of many efforts, they were not able to open the knot that was tied by Yaśodāmayi. Then they told Krishna, Kanhaiya, your mother has tied this knot very tightly. We tried everything, but we are not able to open the knot tied by Yaśodāmayi. Just see, Lord Krishna is Sarva Shaktiman. He is the most powerful. In spite of that, he won't do anything against the desire of his devotee. This is his nature. Krishna's nature is, he will not do anything which is against the desire of his devotee. Yaśodāmayi had desired that he should be tied. So even though they tried to open it, they were not able to open. At that very time, Krishna happened to, his eyes fell on, that means his glance fell on those Arjuna trees that were there in the courtyard. So they were trying to open, the boys were trying to open, and they said, we are not able to open. And at that very moment, Krishna happened to glance on the Arjuna trees in the courtyard. And immediately, as soon as he glanced, his Shakti, you see, Krishna has many, many Shaktis. So Sarvagyata Shakti. Sarvagyata Shakti means his omniscience, the potency by which he knows everything. So as soon as he glanced upon those trees, this Shakti, Sarvagyata Shakti, immediately, awakened. And it reminded Krishna. What did this Sarvagyata Shakti remind Krishna? Hey Damodar, these two Arjuna trees are standing here in order to receive your mercy. For how long they have been standing here waiting for your mercy? According to the demigod's calculation, they have been standing here for 100 years. That means 100 demigod years. So, demigods, one day, like 12 hours, is equivalent to our earthly 6 months. 12 hours of the demigods is equivalent to the earth's 6 months. And 24 hours will be 1 year. 24 hours of the demigods is 1 year. Like this, the demigods also have 30 days in 1 month. Their 1 month is their 30 days. So you have to multiply it. And then similarly, they have 12 months in their 1 year. Like this, 100 demigod years. So this Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīva were standing in the form of these Arjuna trees for 100 demigod years in order to receive the mercy of Krishna. They have been standing there. So then what is this 100 years in earthly calculation, earth years? 36,000 years. They've been standing there as Arjuna trees for 36,000 years. And how they're standing? Raising both their arms like this, they're standing. Because trees, right? Trees have branches. So these Arjuna trees are standing there, raising both their arms to receive the mercy of Krishna. The way tapasvis, we see in the 7th canto when Hiranyakashipu was performing tapasya, he raised both his arms up like this, right? I think like this, up like this. And then he was doing, standing, tiptoeing, standing on his toes, he was doing tapasya. So tapasvis do like this. Like this, these two trees, yamala-arjuna trees, they've been standing here for 36,000 earth years, raising both their arms like this, the way tapasvis stand. Who's saying this? Krishna's Sarvagyata Shakti is telling Krishna. Sarvagyata means now this Shakti is, reminding Krishna or giving him this, his knowledge, this knowledge about these two. Further, this Sarvagyata Shakti is saying, in their previous life, these two trees, Yamala-arjuna trees, they were the servants of Kailashapati, Lord Shankar, Lord Shiva, the Lord of Kailash, Lord Shiva, who is the Lord of Kailash, they were the servants. Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīva were servants, followers of Lord Shiva, who is the Lord of Kailash. And they were the sons of Kuvera. Kuvera means he is the treasurer. At that time, their names were Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīva. So now they are yamala-arjuna trees. So Kṛṣṇa is simply glancing, and as soon as he glanced, immediately he's getting all this knowledge by his own Shakti, Sarvagita Shakti. The Sarvagita Shakti becomes awakened and is informing Kṛṣṇa about these two trees, who they are in their past life. They are, and they're standing here for 100 demigod years, that is 36,000 earth years, raising both their hands like tapasvis. They're standing there, and they're standing there for what? To receive your mercy. They're standing there in expectation of receiving your mercy. They're standing there for 36,000 years, and in their previous lives, they were the servants or followers of Lord Shiva, and they were the sons of Kuvera, the treasurer of the demigods. And their names were, at that time, their names are Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīva. So what did they do? Because of, what do you say? They became infatuated, or they became proud. Yeah, infatuated. Mad. Dhanamada. Dhanamada means you become mad because of your wealth, right? You become so proud. So, इन्होंने धन मद में मत होकर आपके प्रिय भक्त नारद मुनि के चरणों में अपराध किया था. Becoming mad out of opulence, because of their wealth, they were so puffed up. They were so puffed up by their wealth, by their position, being the sons of the treasurer of the demigods. And in that madness, they committed offense at the lotus feet of your dear devotee Nārada Muni. As a consequence, Nārada Muni cursed them. It is because of that curse that they took birth as Arjuna trees in your courtyard. And since then, that means ever since they took birth in this courtyard, in your courtyard, which is already 36,000 years now. But since then, these two persons, Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīva, in winter, in summer, in cyclone or tornadoes, and all types of difficulties they've been facing and suffering, standing here in your courtyard. If you cast your merciful glance on them, then they can become free from this suffering. Then they can become free from this bondage. Who's saying all this? Kṛṣṇa's Sarvagita Shakti. Externally, we see Kṛṣṇa just glanced. But when he glanced on these trees, all this is happening inside. His potency is informing him all this. So now, like this, Kṛṣṇa, after seeing these yamala-arjuna trees, he got this you know, he saw who they are and what is the past. Now, Kṛṣṇa himself is also mad. In what? He is mad in the love. Mat means being completely intoxicated. That's what it means. When you say mat, means intoxicated. He's intoxicated by what? He's intoxicated by the love of the gopas and gopis of Vraja. Kṛṣṇa himself is intoxicated by the love of the residents of Vraja, gopas and gopis. And being intoxicated by that love, he is always in the mood of a child, just like a human child. The way an earthly child thinks or does, like that. He's completely absorbed in that mood. प्राकृत बालक की भांति अल्प बुद्धि संपन्न होकर लीला करते हैं. That means he is completely absorbed in that mood of a small child, like you would think of a child of 3 years age. How would a child think? He would be less intelligent, isn't it? Small child. His intelligence is not so well developed yet. Even though he is omniscient, Sarvagya, that means his Shakti, this is his opulence, Aishwarya Shakti, Sarvagyata and Vibhutvam, these are all his opulences. In Krishna's Leela, in Vrindavan, in Braja, these opulences don't get an opportunity. These potencies don't get an opportunity so frequently. Once in a while, they just sneak in. They find an opportunity to serve him. But otherwise, in Vrindavan, it's always Madhurya Shakti, not Aishwarya. So, even though these Shaktis come out for some time, again, in front of the love of the Brajvasis, their hearts are filled with Madhurya Prema. These Aishwarya Shaktis don't stand a chance. Immediately they have to go down. So Krishna is always absorbed in the mood of a small boy. That's the point. He himself is always intoxicated by the love of the Vrajvasis, and then he is in the mood of an ordinary child, really, a small ordinary child, that's all, like a less intelligent child. And in that mood, he performs his pastimes. So, the Lord who is all-knowing, omniscient, and at the same time, he's performing pastime like an ignorant child. You see, he's Sarvagya, he's omniscient, yet and he's not pretending, by the way. This is important. It's not like knowing everything, he's just acting like he doesn't know. It's not like that. Both are true. He's actually not knowing anything also. He's performing that pastime, being completely absorbed like a small child, like an ignorant child. And at the same time, he is the Supreme Lord, Sarvagya. How it is possible that he's also ignorant? He's ignorant and he's also all-knowing. How can it be? Yes, this is Achintya. This is Achintya, inconceivable. It is not that he is all-knowing and now he's pretending to be ignorant. No, it's not that. He's completely in the mood of an ordinary child, in ignorance. And being like that, he performs his wonderful pastimes. And this is very, very sweet. Being all-knowing and at the same time performing pastimes like an ignorant child, this is extremely sweet. So at that time, when he had seen these Arjuna trees who were situated in his courtyard, and his Sarvagyata Shakti, through his Sarvagyata Shakti, he understood. And remember, the Shakti had also said that, Sarvagyata Shakti had said that if you show your mercy, then they can be delivered from this bondage. Then the Lord decided to show his mercy. कृपा कटाक्षपात करके भगवान दामोदर ने मन ही मन में विचार किया. So he cast his merciful glance on the trees. After understanding their past, who they were, and that they were awaiting his mercy, how they are cursed by Nārada Muni, at that time the Lord cast his merciful glance on these two personalities who were now in the form of yamala-arjuna trees. And casting his merciful glance, he started thinking within his mind, Kṛṣṇa is thinking, that इन कुबेर पुत्रों का अवश्य ही उद्धार करना होगा. I have to deliver these two sons of Kuvera. You may wonder why. Why is he saying karna hi hoga? I have to do. Is there anything that the Lord has to do? For us, we have duties, isn't it? In the conditioned state, human beings are guided or controlled, we should say. They're controlled by, regulated by dharma. If you act against dharma, then you are punishable. So out of fear of punishment, one follows his dharma, isn't it? You follow your duty. That is duty. Duty means your dharma. Whatever is prescribed to us based on our psychophysical nature. This is prescribed in the Shastra, and it is identified by the Guru. And then we are assigned our duties. So we should live our lives performing those duties. We should not transgress our dharma. Because if we do, then that becomes a sin, and then you'll get punishment. So out of fear of punishment, people follow their dharma. I have to do it, isn't it? But does the Lord have such dharma that he has to do something? No. Still here he's thinking that I have to, in his mind, after casting his merciful glance on Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīva, who are now in the form of Arjuna trees, the Lord is thinking in his mind, I have to definitely, certainly, I have to deliver these two sons of Kuvera. I have to do it. Why? We will see shortly. And then he started moving towards these two trees with the intention of delivering these two trees from their bondage, from the bondage of that tree body, with the intention of delivering these two personalities from the bondage of that tree body. Kṛṣṇa started, not started, he desired. He didn't start going yet. Some more drama will happen. But he desired, now I have to deliver them. At any cost, I have to deliver them. So to deliver them, then I have to go close to them. Like this, he's thinking in his mind, I have to go close to them, then only I can deliver them. So what did he do in order to go to the trees? He got down on his hands and knees. Like small babies crawl, like that. He got down on his hands and knees, and he started pulling that. Remember, it is still tied on his back. That knot is tied, and then that rope goes behind the grinding motor, and there's a knot behind the grinding motor also. He told his friends to open it, they were not able to open. And while they, when they said, oh, we tried, but mother has tied it so tightly, it's not within our capacity to open it. Why is it like that, Because Yaśodamayi is in Vatsalya Prema and the cowherd boys are in Sakhya Prema. So Vatsalya Prema is tighter, stronger, more intimate, more powerful. Vatsalya Prema, there's control. Because in Sakhyaras, they're equals. Krishna, they see Krishna as equal. But when you come to Vatsalya Prema, they see Krishna. In Vatsalya Prema, the devotee sees Krishna as subordinate. There is controllership. So, being in Sakhya Rasa, the boys were not able to open the knot tied by Yaśodamayi, who is in Vatsalya Rasa. It was not within their capacity. They were not able to open. So anyway, when they said we are not able to open it, then Krishna's glance fell on these trees and then he saw their past and then he decided, oh, I have to deliver them. To deliver them, I have to go close to them. So therefore, he got down on his hands and knees, started pulling that grinding motor. He tried to pull. He was endeavoring, but he was not able to pull. Krishna was not able to pull that grinding motor. Then at that time, he told his friends, he began to speak to his friends, the cowherd boy friends. My dear friends, I will pull this grinding motor from the front and you push it from behind. I will pull it from the front and you go behind the motor and you push from behind. In this way, by dragging this grinding motor, we will take this grinding motor in between those two trees. When this motor gets stuck between these two trees, I will go to the other side of the trees. So the motor will be stuck on this side and I will go to the other side of these two trees and I will pull it with great strength. And by that, this rope which is binding me will be broken. So you see, apparently here, being like a small ignorant child, Krishna is still in the mood of getting that knot, that rope opened. He told his friends, you open it. They were not able to open. So now he's making a plan how to become free from this bondage. So he's suggesting to his friends, I will pull from front and you go behind the ukhal and you start pushing it from there. And together we will drag this to these two trees and then this motor will get stuck between the two trees. I will go to the other side and I will pull very hard and the rope will break. And that way I will become free. So when the boys heard this, they went behind the grinding motor and started pushing. And Krishna also, he's on his knees, ghutno par the, and he is pulling also. He's crawling and he's pulling and from behind they are pushing. Yaśodamayi, who is filled with Vatsalya Prema, had tied this rope around the belly of Krishna. Yaśodamayi tied Krishna with what? With rope. She tied him with her love. That rope is nothing but her Vatsalya Prema. She tied Krishna's belly with this rope. But what is there in Yaśodā is, what is, she is personification of love. Yaśodā is that love personified, Vatsalya Prema personified. That's why, anyway, but here the point is, he's tied, no? Now Kṛṣṇa is tied up. Who will tie Kṛṣṇa? That is why Kṛṣṇa does not have, the Supreme Lord does not have the experience of bondage. In the conditioned state, we are all in bondage. We are bound by what? By the three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. First of all, avidya. We are bound by avidya, which is a component of Maya, external energy. Then after this, again, there are many coverings, one after another. The Jivatma is covered by, after avidya, then you get this ahankara. And because of this ahankar, now you identify with this body. Aham and mama. I am this body, and those related to this body are mine. So in this way, we are bound. And in this bondage, being in this bondage, then you see, when you're in bondage, you don't have any freedom to act, isn't it? When you're bound, you don't have any freedom to act. Just like if you're bound in the body of a dog, by your karma, of course, you get the body of a dog. You can only act like a dog. Being in the body of a dog, you cannot act like a bird. You cannot fly. You can only act like a dog. You cannot act like a human being. You see? So this is called bondage. We are bound. Similarly, we are bound in these bodies, material bodies, human bodies, dog bodies, demigod bodies. We are in bondage. Where is freedom here? You get freedom. You don't have freedom. One who is liberated has freedom. One who is in bondage, what freedom he has? If you are in the prison house, what freedom do you have? The person who is outside, he has freedom. The one who is bound has no freedom. So we are all bound. Conditioned soul means he is bound. What freedom does the conditioned soul have? The modes are dictating. The modes are dictating what you should do, what you should desire, and everything. Then how we become free if we are bound? Someone who is free, if that person releases, or it begins with that person even desiring, oh, this person should be released. That person has a free will. One who is not bound, he has a free will. I want to see this person released. I want to help this person. Or his desiring is sufficient. If he simply desires that this person should be released, who is that person who's free? This is a devotee, sadhu. So when he desires like that, then the Lord, when the devotee desires, this pastime is also highlighting this point. Nārada Muni gave a curse. Now Kṛṣṇa has to fulfill that. And what was the curse? Nārada Muni's curse was, yes, you become trees. But why that curse? You will become trees in the courtyard of Lord Kṛṣṇa, and then you will get the mercy of Kṛṣṇa. And by the mercy of Kṛṣṇa, you will be delivered. This was Narada. We will go into the details of this pastime in the 10th chapter. But the point is, why Kṛṣṇa is feeling that, oh, I have to deliver them? Because it was his devotee, Nārada Muni, who desired that these two should be delivered. That is why when somebody is bound, what is the hope for him? Someone who is free. When someone who is free, if he desires, then the person who is bound will be delivered. Otherwise, he has no other hope. It's not that directly the Lord will come and open up his bondage. No. Only when the devotee desires, then the Lord's mercy follows. So now the point is, Kṛṣṇa has no experience of being bound. Kṛṣṇa never becomes conditioned. I mean, it is impossible. He never touches the external energy. What to speak of the external energy, tying Kṛṣṇa up, it doesn't happen. So Kṛṣṇa knows that he has knowledge of suffering. Oh, how the conditioned souls are suffering by the influence of the modes. He has that knowledge, but he has no experience. You understand? For example, you have doctors. Doctors are treating patients. There are, serious diseases like heart attacks. Then different diseases are there, cancer and brain. Yeah, different diseases are there. Now, the doctor has knowledge. The doctor has knowledge. But it's not necessary that the doctor has experience of the pain that the patient is going through. He has knowledge, but he may not, unless he himself is a patient, he may not have the experience of what it feels like, what the pain is like. Kṛṣṇa's condition is like that. Kṛṣṇa has knowledge of the suffering of the conditioned soul because he's Sarvagya. Sarvagya means all-knowing. There's nothing that he does not know. However, he doesn't have experience of the pain of being conditioned, of being in bondage. Conditioned soul is in bondage all the time, but Kṛṣṇa is not in bondage. He doesn't have experience of that pain. But now, when he is tied by Mother Yaśodā, he is bound. That means his movement is restricted. And he is first-hand experiencing what it is like to be bound, to be tied up. And because of that experience, now he is feeling compassion for the sons of Kuvera. They are bound in the bodies of these trees. Being bound by the rope of Mother Yaśodā, now he is able to experience the pain of bondage that these two sons of Kuvera are undergoing. So therefore he decided that, oh, they must be delivered. Oh, it is so painful to be in bondage. So he started moving towards them. अर्थात जीव भगवान की माया के पाश में आबद्ध होकर कितनी दुस्सह यातनाएं भोग करते हैं, आज स्वयं ही माँ यशोदा के बंधन में बंधने पर कृष्ण बंधन का मर्म समझ रहे हैं. So he's actually for the first time, right? He's actually experiencing what it is like to be bound, how painful it is to be bound. Again, here what you should understand, Kṛṣṇa is in the mood of a small child, and for a small child being bound up like that, it is very painful. He wants to be free, he wants to play. And he's not happy with that. This is Kṛṣṇa's position. And now he is seeing, because of his Sarvagyata Shakti, he understood the bondage of Maṇigrīva and Nalakūvara. So, comparing with his own pain of being bound, he is able to feel now, oh, how painful it is for them. That means Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīva. But all living entities have that, isn't it? We are all bound in material bodies. So that is why here Acharya is explaining, जीव भगवान की माया के पाश में आबद्ध होकर कितनी दुस्सह यातनाएं भोग करते हैं. How many sufferings the conditioned soul is suffering, is facing, being bound by the external energy. Today, the Lord being, when he himself is bound by the rope of Mother Yaśodā, he is able to experience the pain that the conditioned soul experiences being bound. Like that, it is explained. Of course, here also the bondage is what? He's tied with the rope. But at least he gets a feeling of what it is like to be tied up. That's the point. That's why his heart melted seeing the bondage of the sons of Kuvera. How they are, they are the sons of the treasurer of the demigods, and now they are tied up. That means they're restricted. Imagine there's the sons of the demigods. They were in such opulence, free to move, and such beautiful bodies. Now they became trees. Trees cannot even move, travel here and there. They're just in one place for how long? 36,000 earth years. Seeing that condition, Krishna's heart melted because he's comparing with his own situation. You see, this is one thing. How devotees get mercy. The Lord does not get mercy on the conditioned soul. It is the devotee who gets mercy on the conditioned soul. You know why? Because it is said the Lord has no experience of what it is like to be in the material world. Because he is never in the material world. Even when he is there, he is not touched by the material energy. He is not bound by the material energy, the way all the conditioned souls are bound. And he is the Supreme Lord. He is never bound. Whereas the devotee being Tatastha Shakti, marginal energy, whether we are conditioned souls or liberated souls, we are marginal energy, Tatastha Shakti. So the devotees of the Lord, pure devotees of the Lord, being marginal energy, they can relate to the suffering of other marginal, other living entities who are also marginal energy. You see, Krishna is Krishna Tattva, he is Bhagavan. Whereas the living entity is servant. Whether you're in the conditioned soul or liberated soul, you're a servant of the Lord. Whereas he's the enjoyer and we are the enjoyed, we are his energy. So there's a difference. So Krishna is not experiencing what the living entity goes through. But the living entity can relate to the sufferings of another living entity because they are of the same kind. That is why it is the devotee who gives mercy first. It is the devotee whose heart melts seeing the pain of the conditioned soul. What is the pain of the conditioned soul? Being poor, being sick? No. The real suffering of the conditioned soul is forgetting, losing the knowledge. Losing the knowledge means his knowledge is covered. What knowledge? His knowledge that I'm not this material body. I'm spirit soul. And the spirit soul is meant to be a devotee of the Lord. His knowledge is covered by this darkness of avidya, ignorance. And on top of that, he gets another covering of ahankar, which gives him false identification with the body. And in this, like hallucination, being in this false identification, sometimes he identifies himself with a particular, post, position, and he becomes so proud. Or he identifies himself with a particular family and, lineage. And then, he experiences happiness and distress. Whereas in reality, he has nothing to do with all these things. You get all these designations when you take birth, and then when you die, all these designations are lost. And you get a different designation, you forget all about this. And once again, this is the real suffering of the conditioned soul. He has no free will, no freedom. When the time is up, you have to give up this body and you put in another mother's womb. Maybe a dog, cat, or human being, or, Western Indian, we don't know where, demigod, demons. And when you take birth there, then you forget all about this. And again, once again, you just start there fresh. And then you start thinking, this is my family, this is my position, this is my goal in life. And you just go on and on. And again, that body is finished. And again, you go to another. How to come out of this? A pure devotee sees this is the real suffering. And why he is being forced to change bodies like this, and every time, you just get adjusted to that, and again you're kicked out, and again you go into another body, and again you just get adjusted into that. Not just adjusted, you get attached, you identify yourself with that. And this has been going on life after life after life. Since beginningless, this has been going on. And it'll go on endlessly until and unless a devotee of the Lord intervenes by giving his mercy. And his heart melts, the devotee's heart melts, seeing the suffering. This is the real suffering. It's not that, he feels sorry only for the poor people because they don't have food to eat, or, some material sufferings. From spiritual perspective, both material happiness and material distress, both are suffering. Both are suffering. Why? Because of forgetfulness. Because it is all hallucination. It's not based on reality. Reality is, I'm a servant of the Lord. Everything else is hallucination. It's temporary. My identifying myself according to the designations coming from this body, it's all hallucination. This body is real. Body is not false. Body is made of earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence. These things are the 23 elements formed, 23 elements which are coming from Prakriti. Prakriti is the Lord's energy. If the Lord is real, his energy is also real. And things coming from his energy are also real. So the body is not false. And I am also not false. I am spirit soul. I am also the energy of the Lord. But the soul identifying with the body, that is false. I am giving myself this identity. I am this family. I am this. This is my educational qualification. This is my achievements in life. This is my, all these things. The soul identifying with the body, that is hallucination. That is false. The body is real. Everything else, all the things that you're seeing, they're real. But you're thinking that you are this body and these things are mine, that is false. And why that is going on like this? Because of forgetfulness of your true identity, being covered by avidya. So seeing this, then somebody is proud of being a prime minister or president, or someone is very sad because he's handicapped, or, he's very poor. This devotee feels sorry equally for both the rich person and the poor person, the materially successful person or materially unsuccessful person. He feels sorry for everyone. Why? Because everything is being done in hallucination. Neither you are president nor you are handicapped. Neither you are, a very successful grihastha, nor you, I mean, grihamedi, okay, grihastha, whatever. Nor you are, a failure in life. All this is hallucination. This is not reality. But we get carried away. We become very happy when we achieve material, things. And we become very morose when we lose. And seeing our happiness and distress, a devotee feels sorry for us. If a devotee feels sorry for us, that is our good fortune, because then our good fortune is awakening. When a devotee feels for me, that's my good fortune. Because when a devotee feels for me, then Krishna's mercy is coming. It's following that devotee's mercy. So here the point is, Krishna does not have any experience of material misery, but his devotee, he can relate to the miseries that a conditioned soul is suffering. But in this pastime, we are seeing that now Kṛṣṇa, being bound by Mother Yaśodā, he has, for once, he's understanding what it is like to be bound. So he is actually feeling for Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīva, who are now bound in these three bodies. That's why his heart melted and he became very eager actually. Utkantith ho gaye. Utkantha means, samutkantha. Samutkantha means kant. This is kantha. Utkantha means like this, right? High. When is utkantha? Utkantha means you're very eager. Out of eagerness, you're going like this. So Kṛṣṇa became very eager to go and deliver these two. Maṇigrīva, Nalakūvara, who are now in Arjuna tree bodies. His heart melted. Seeing their bondage in those trees, his heart melted. Why? He's comparing with his own situation. I am bound and I'm not happy being bound. How miserable they must be. Seeing this, and this is the condition of the pure devotee also. The pure devotee, he sees others' pain as his pain. For himself, he has no pain. For himself, he has no pain. He will compare, put himself in that situation and see, oh, how painful it is to not be Kṛṣṇa conscious. I cannot imagine if I didn't have Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Oh my God, it is hellish. He feels like this. And that is why he is very eager to give Kṛṣṇa consciousness to others. In Chaitanya Charitamrita class that we are reading nowadays, for the past 3 sessions, we've been discussing one verse, which is recited or spoken by Swarup Damodar Goswami, and it is glorifying the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there it is said, how by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his mercy is distributed in 3 ways. One is, it makes your heart nirmala, free from all contamination. That means anartha nivritti happens. I won't tell all the thing. Imagine for 3 days, 1 hour. Today's class was 1.5 hours long each class. So it's not possible to explain everything now. But in just 1 or 2 lines, I'm just trying to say that Mahaprabhu's mercy comes in 3 ways. One is nirmala, one is rasada, and samada. Third one is samada. So nirmala means when you receive the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all your kleshas are driven away. Kleshas means your miseries, all material miseries are driven away. Then when that means this anartha nivritti, anarthas are removed. By that, your heart becomes free from all contamination. And at that time, your mind is not attracted or attached to anything else, not to liberation, not to material things, nothing. And you are 24 hours, your nishtha becomes steady. There's no more ups and downs in your bhajan. Steadily your nishtha goes. And then you feel that peace and happiness in your heart because there's no more hankerings for anything material, no more desires. You have no attraction whatsoever for anything material, for family, for wealth, for, goals in life, material goals in life, nothing. Only service to Kṛṣṇa. That's one effect of the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Second is after anartha nivritti, now when you're doing steady bhajan, then you'll get ruchi, taste in devotional service, then asakti, attachment to the Lord, then you get bhava. Bhava means you'll get a relationship with the Lord, and then you get prema rasa. Prema rasa. That is why rasada. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy gives you rasa. That means prema rasa. You are experiencing this Sandrananda Visheshatma, this condensed bliss, right? Ananda, condensed ananda you're experiencing in prema rasa. So this rasa, how you're getting? By the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And finally, samada. So after getting this rasa also, then you go to higher and higher stages of this love, where you are seeing your worshipable deity everywhere, constantly, constantly. Everywhere you're seeing your worshipable deity, and also you will be seeing, when you see your worshipable deity, the love that you have for the Lord, you will see that love in everyone. You will think that I have no love, but everyone has so much love for Krishna. But really, that is the vision of this pure devotee. Not that everyone actually has love for Krishna. No, but this devotee is seeing everyone loves Krishna so much. Even this fan is loving Krishna, this wall is loving Krishna, the light is everything, even inanimate objects he sees. We see this in the gopis' songs, you see how they see that everyone is loving Krishna. The trees are loving, water is loving. Actually, they are loving. No, this is the vision of the pure devotee. So this is like you're reaching higher and higher levels of prema. You become mad. That's why it says samada. Mada means mada. Mada means you become like other people see a pure devotee like a mad person, because he'll be laughing loudly, crying, dancing, offering obeisances on the road. He'll just offer obeisances to a rock, right? Because he's seeing his worshipable deity everywhere. And he'll be offering obeisances to everyone, thinking that they have so much love for Krishna. How this is happening? By the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So at this stage, what he will do, this is the point I wanted to say, connecting it with what we are reading here. At this stage, what this devotee does is, actually, one who is in this stage, there it is said that now he wants to give this to everyone. But then you may say, Are, he's not seeing anyone, he's only seeing Krishna everywhere. So to whom he will preach, isn't it? If he's seeing everyone is loving Krishna, to whom he will preach? Yeah, when he preaches, actually, it is said he comes down to Madhyama level. That means for the sake of preaching, he will come down from Uttama Bhakta to Madhyam Bhakta. That means Madhyama means he will discriminate. He will say, oh, this is a devotee, this is my Lord, and this is a devotee of the Lord. That means he'll make friendship with the devotee, and he will see this is a someone who is envious of Krishna. So he will avoid, and he will see this person is ignorant. He's not envious, he's just ignorant. Then he will show compassion to the ignorant. This is the definition of a Madhyama Bhakta. He discriminates. So when he preaches, then he will discriminate. But what is said there about this Uttama Bhakta, and when now he is seeing the Lord everywhere, now he will engage only in Krishna conscious activities. Of course, he's already engaging in Krishna conscious activities all the time, before that also. But he's just completely, he's seeing only his Lord. He's directly experiencing his Lord constantly at all times, and he's absorbed in that ecstasy in those activities. Ecstasy of those activities is absorbed. And there it is said, then he will preach everywhere. So that means when he is preaching, that means he is differentiating, isn't it? So at that time, he will come down to Madhyama platform. That we have to remember. So here what we are seeing is, when the Lord saw the bondage of the sons of Kuvera, his heart melted and he became very eager to go and deliver them. And so I was saying how these pure devotees of the Lord who have experienced this love of the Lord, now they want to give it to others. They cannot stay. They cannot be happy just, now they want to give it to everyone. They're very eager to give it to everyone also. That's the point I was trying to say while connecting that shloka. So then the Lord Krishna is now eager to go and deliver, because he is experiencing that bondage himself, seeing their bondage, he's feeling sorry for them. He's very eager to go and deliver them. So Krishna, although he is himself bound, He's bound by what? He's bound by the love of his devotees. He's not bound by external energy like conditioned souls. Even though he is himself is bound, here he is tied up by the rope of his mother. Who, what is that rope? It is the love of Yaśodamayi. So even though he himself is bound by his devotees, still he releases the entire universe from material bondage. This is the greatness of Krishna. You see anyone is there like that in your experience? Can you see someone who is bound is releasing another person who is bound? He cannot. He cannot. If he is bound, he cannot release another person. But Krishna is bound, and while being bound, he is releasing not one person, the entire universe he liberates. And another point is, if Krishna were not bound by his devotees, see, another important point. If Krishna were not bound by his devotees, then no conditioned soul in this entire universe would ever become free from Maya. Why? Because the Lord comes only for his devotees' sake. He comes to this world, material world, for his devotees only. परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. Paritranaya sadhunam. He's coming for to deliver his devotees. Deliver from what? His devotees are feeling so much separation from the Lord. They're on the verge of death because of separation from the Lord. To save them from that separation, he comes for them. And when he comes for the devotees, then when he comes, he's performing pastimes and he's leaving behind, Bhagavatam for us, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. And by that, the other people are also benefiting. Even though he's coming for his devotees, by his coming, so many other wonderful things are happening. All the conditioned souls are also getting a chance to get liberated. And of course, what are the devotees doing here? They are in separation from the Lord, but the devotees are feeling sorry for all these conditioned souls. So when the devotees want to deliver the conditioned souls, the Lord also helps them. So if the Lord were not controlled by the devotees, no conditioned soul would ever be liberated from the material bondage. We are indebted. We are indebted, eternally indebted to the devotees of the Lord. If it were not for the devotees, we have absolutely no chance of coming out of, of even turning towards the Lord. So, first point is, even the Lord is himself in bondage, he liberates the entire universe. And if the Lord were not in the bondage of his devotees, no conditioned soul in this entire universe would ever have a chance of coming out of the bondage of Maya. Because the Lord comes only for his devotees, to protect his devotees. And then when he comes here, then he establishes dharma and all that. So when he comes for for example, the Lord came for his devotee Brahmaji. Brahmaji is a devotee of the Lord. He meditated on the Lord. He pleased the Lord. And then the Lord appeared at the beginning of creation. So he came for his devotee Brahmaji. And then when he came, Brahmaji needed help with creation. So the Lord transmitted the Vedic knowledge into the heart of Brahmaji. And he gave various sadhanas, different methods, karma, jnana, yoga, bhakti, etc. to Brahmaji. And then Brahmaji passed it on. And that Vedic knowledge he passed on. As a result, by following these various sadhanas, people are able to attain the absolute truth by following Jnana Marga, Bhakti Marga, Ashtanga Yoga, like this. That means the Lord came for his devotee Brahmaji and he gave Brahmaji what Brahmaji wanted. But by that, even though he came for Brahmaji, everyone else is being benefited, isn't it? All the conditioned souls in this world are also getting an opportunity. But would the Lord directly come for the conditioned souls? No. He came for his devotee. That's the point. He came for his devotee. Therefore, the Lord who is controlled by the devotee, Bhakta Baddha Bhagavan, the Lord who is controlled by the devotee, and Bhakti Badhya, and Bhakta Baddha Bhagavan. He is only the Lord who is Bhakti Badhya and Bhakta Baddha. That means this is his nature. Such Bhagavan only is, that means what Bhagavan? Which Bhagavan? Bhagavan who is controlled by his devotees and by bhakti, by the bhakti and bhakta. Such Lord is the only hope for the conditioned souls. The Lord who is controlled by his devotee, he is the only hope for the conditioned souls. So in this way, the Lord who is bound by Yaśodamayi's rope, Damodar Bhagavan, now is moving towards the Arjuna trees in order to deliver the sons of Kuvera, who are now in the form of Arjuna trees. And by that, the Lord is showing the whole world the glory of the bondage given to him by his devotee. भक्त प्रदत्त बंधन के गौरव को प्रकाशित कर रहे हैं भगवान. He's showing the glory of the Lord's being bound by his devotee. Even though he himself is tied, he's going to release the sons, and he does release the sons of Kuvera. And by doing this, he's showing the glory of the bondage, the Lord's bondage, or the bondage given to the Lord by his devotee. So in this way, we come to the conclusion of chapter 9. Then we will begin, in the next session, we will begin chapter 10. So 9 and 10, these two pastimes go together. Chapter 9 is Mother Yasoda's binding Kṛṣṇa. Chapter 10 is Kṛṣṇa's delivering yamala-arjuna trees, or Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīvā. So we will begin this in the next session. It's already time. But also I want to complete the last verse of Bhagavad Gita from the 14th chapter. We just have to finish the last shloka from the 14th chapter. I'll just finish that today. And then we can move to the 15th chapter in the next session. Fourteen 27. ब्रह्मणो हि प्रतिष्ठाहम् अमृतस्य व्ययस्य च शाश्वतस्य च धर्मस्य सुखस्यैकान्तिकस्य च Brahmano hi pratisthaham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya ikantikasya cha. Brahmano hi pratisthaham. Brahmano hi pratisthaham means this Brahman is supported by me. Pratishtha means situated. This Brahman is situated in me. I am the support for Brahman. Amritasya vyayasya cha. Then what are the features of this Brahman? Amritasya means deathlessness. Avyayasya, inexhaustible. It is never, decreasing or depreciating, right? There's nothing like that for Brahman. Brahman is always there and there's no depreciation. It's inexhaustible and there is no death. Shashvatasya, eternal. Cha dharmasya, sukhasya, aikantikasya cha. So, dharmasya means, we will read this now. Dharmasya, sukhasya, aikantikasya. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Sukhasya, aikantikasya. Aikantikasya means? So here it is translated as ultimate. Sukhasya, ultimate happiness. Dharmasya means it is at constitutional position. So let's read Srila Prabhupada's purport. So, context. What is the context? Arjuna had asked 3 questions of Kṛṣṇa. After hearing, this 14th chapter is about the 3 modes of material nature. That's the title, that's the name of this chapter. So then, after studying, after explaining what does the mode of goodness do, how do you identify, what are its characteristic features, then passion and ignorance, and then what happens when one transcends these 3 modes. After hearing all this, then Arjuna asked 3 questions. Because Kṛṣṇa said that one who transcends, he becomes immortal. He doesn't have to take birth again in this material world if he transcends the 3 modes. So now Arjuna had a question. What are the symptoms of a person who has transcended the 3 modes? What is the behavior of a person who has transcended the 3 modes? And most importantly, the third question was, how can one transcend the 3 modes? What does one have to do? So Kṛṣṇa explained again verses 22 to 25. What are the symptoms of a person who has transcended and what is his behavior? Then in the 26th verse, Kṛṣṇa says how one can transcend the 3 modes. Mamchayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. One who performs avyabhichari bhakti to me. Sagunan samatityayitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. He will transcend the 3 modes and he will go and merge into Brahman. Okay? So how can you transcend the 3 modes? Kṛṣṇa is saying if you do bhakti, what type of bhakti? Unmixed, avyabhichari bhakti. Not that some bhakti, some karma, some jnana. No. One who does avyabhichari bhakti, that means exclusive bhakti. You should do only bhakti. One who does exclusive bhakti to me, means to Kṛṣṇa, then he will transcend the 3 modes and he will get Brahman. So now Arjun can get a question, right? If somebody does bhakti to you, he will get Brahman? How is that? If he's doing bhakti to you, he should get you, na? If I do bhakti to Kṛṣṇa, then I should get Kṛṣṇa. I should go to Kṛṣṇa Loka. But if someone is doing exclusive bhakti to Kṛṣṇa, he gets Brahman. How is that? So in answer to that question, Now the 27th verse is spoken where Kṛṣṇa is saying that Brahman is in me only. It is situated in me. It is not independently standing. Brahman is the effulgence of Kṛṣṇa. It's not separate from Kṛṣṇa. So the question was, if somebody is worshipping Kṛṣṇa, how he is realizing Brahman? He should be worshipping Brahman, then he should realize Brahman. But you are saying he should do bhakti to Kṛṣṇa? How he will realize Brahman? So in answer to that, Kṛṣṇa is saying, Brahman is not separate from me. That Brahman is supported by me only. It is resting on me. That Brahman is Brahmano hi pratishtaham. That Brahman is supported by me. It is not independent. And then what is this Brahman? Its characteristics are said. That is this verse, and that's the last verse of this chapter. Now let's read the purport. So translation once again, and I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Purport, the constitution of Brahman is, so what is Brahman? Immortality, right? Amritasya, it has no death. Imperishability, avyayasya, eternity, shashvatasya, happiness, sukhasya. These are the characteristics of Brahman. Brahman is the beginning of transcendental realization. It's just like, that's why classic example is of sunlight. When the sun rises, who do you see first? You see the light, isn't it? Sunlight. That's why Brahman is the beginning of transcendental realization. Paramatma, the super soul, is the middle, the second stage in transcendental realization. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate realization of the absolute truth. So just like when the sun rises, first you see light, and then you see the sun planet. But actually, it is not the planet. It is the personality, Vivasvan, from whom all this light is coming. So if you are more advanced, then you can actually see the deity of the sun planet, Vivasvan, from whom this effulgence is coming. Like that. So one who has very, you can say like a neophyte in understanding the absolute truth, right? Very little understanding. Who will have that? The Gyanis. They will see the absolute truth as Brahman. That means their bhakti, there's very little bhakti there. However, that little bhakti also has to be exclusive. That means only bhakti they should do. But the power of that bhakti is very less. Just like you have, light bulbs. You have 0 watt, you have 20 watt, 50 watt, 100 watt, like that. The capacity, the candle light, candle power is less. Like that, the bhakti is very feeble, alpa. Then by that, how much, you have these bed lights, 0 watt bulbs. How much light does it give? Very little. Like that. So they do exclusive bhakti, but it's very feeble. Little bit is there. But with that, what can they see? Absolute truth, they can only see Brahman. Like that. That's why it is said, this is the beginning. Brahman is the beginning of transcendental realization. Now, does that mean when one by practicing bhakti also, when you realize the absolute truth, first you will realize him as Brahman, then as Paramatma, and ultimately you will realize him as Kṛṣṇa? Is it like that? No, it's not like that. It's not like that. Because Srila Prabhupada gives the example of elevator. Step by step, one thing you can take step by step, or you can go in the elevator and directly you go to the top floor. Like that. If you take the path of Shuddha Bhakti, then there is no steps. It's not like you'll first realize Brahman, then you will realize Paramatma, then you will realize Bhagwan. It's not like that. You will directly realize Kṛṣṇa if you do Shuddha Bhakti. That has to be clear. So, but otherwise, Brahman is the beginning of transcendental realization. Paramatma, who realizes Paramatma? Those who practice Ashtanga Yoga. That the super soul, Paramatma, the super soul is the middle, the second stage in transcendental realization. That means in Paramatma realization, there is a little bit more bhakti compared to in Jnana Marga. When one realizes Brahman, the bhakti is very little bhakti. That's why with that bhakti, you can only realize up to Brahman. But if you have a little bit more bhakti, you can actually see the absolute truth as Paramatma. And if you have very powerful bhakti, then prema, then you can see Bhagavan like that. So the second stage in transcendental realization, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, is the ultimate realization of the absolute truth. Therefore, both Paramatma and the impersonal Brahman are within the Supreme, isn't it? So complete realization of the absolute truth is Kṛṣṇa. But partial realization is Brahman and Paramatma. What does that mean? Now complete, let's say you have $100 bill, that's $100. Now within that $100, you have partial. $10 you can have $20. Yes, you can have $50 within that. Within 100, you'll have $10, $20, isn't it? Like that, Bhagavan is complete realization of the absolute truth. And partial realization is Paramatma and Brahman. That means Brahman and Paramatma are within Kṛṣṇa. Simple, isn't it? That's why Kṛṣṇa is saying Brahmano hi pratishtaham. That Brahman is in me. Both Paramatma and impersonal Brahman are within the Supreme Person. It is explained in the 7th chapter that material nature is the manifestation of the inferior energy of the Supreme Lord. It is explained in the 7th chapter that material nature is the manifestation of the inferior energy of the Supreme Lord. Remember that verse? Inferior nature. Bhumirapo nalo vayu kammano buddhirevacha. Ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakriti rashtada. Bhinna prakriti. This is bhinna prakriti, external energy or inferior energy of the Lord. The Lord impregnates the inferior material nature with the fragments of the superior nature. What is the superior nature? Living entities. Apareyam itastvanyam prakritim viddhime param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. So there is another superior energy of mine, apareyam itastvanyam, which is different from this inferior energy and which is supporting this whole material creation. What is that? That is the living entities. Jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. So the Lord impregnates the inferior material nature with fragments of superior nature. That means he is impregnating this prakriti with the living entities. Like a father impregnates mother, a woman, and then she gives birth to children. Like that, the Supreme Lord is impregnating prakriti with these living entities, which is his superior energy. And that, so within this creation, that is the spiritual touch. That living entities which are impregnated into Prakriti, the living entities are the spiritual touch in the material nature. When a living entity conditioned by this material nature, that means conditioned soul, conditioned by this material nature, begins the cultivation of spiritual knowledge. When will he begin cultivation of spiritual knowledge? When he receives the mercy of a pure devotee. That's what we were discussing in Bhagavatam. So, when a living entity conditioned by this material nature begins the cultivation of spiritual knowledge, he elevates himself from the position of material existence and gradually rises up to the Brahman conception of the Supreme. So, this is in Jnana Marga. In Jnana Marga. Bhakti Marga, here Brahman means in Bhakti Marga Parabrahman, Bhagwan. He will realize Bhagwan. But in Jnana Marga, he elevates himself from the position of material existence and gradually rises up to the Brahman conception of the Supreme. This attainment of Brahman conception of life is the first stage in self-realization. So in self-realization, first you will realize I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul. Spirit, right? Aham Brahmasmi, I am soul, right? I'm not body, I'm soul. Aham Brahmasmi. This is the first stage of self-realization. At this stage, the Brahman realized person is transcendental to the material position. Yes. But he is not actually perfect in Brahman realization. So this is called Tvam Padartha Gyan. Tvam Padartha Gyan means I'm not this body, I'm soul. This is the first stage in Jnana Marga. The first stage of realization is I'm not this body, I'm soul. But this is not yet, you're realizing about yourself, you're not this body, you're spirit soul. But that's not the perfect realization of Brahman. Perfect realization of Brahman means Sarvam Khalvidam Brahman, Brahma. Everything is Brahma, not just I am Brahma, everything is Brahma. So that's higher realization. If he wants, he can continue to stay in the Brahman position and then gradually rise up to Paramatma realization and then to the realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes. So he can remain in this Brahman realization. So realizing I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul is first level. This is in Gyan Marga. Higher, and then next he will realize that everything is Brahman. That is called Tat Padartha Jnana. And in Jnana Marga, the ultimate is Aikya Jnanam. I and that Brahman are non-different. There is only Brahman. There's no second thing. Like I am there and Brahman is there. No, it's just Brahman. I am that Brahman. Everything is Brahman. That's the realization. Aikya Jnanam. This is Jnana Marga. But what Srila Prabhupada is saying is realizing that Brahman is not the ultimate, it's not perfection, because Brahman is just partial realization of absolute truth. If you want, you can go to higher, like Paramatma realization, and even higher, ultimately you can realize Bhagavan, Prabhupada is saying. But how you will realize? It all depends on the association you get. So after one is realized in Brahman, if he gets the association of a Paramatma realized person, then he can progress further to realizing Paramatma. And then if he gets the association of a devotee, then he can progress to realizing Bhagavan. Or in the beginning itself, if he directly gets the association of a devotee, then he can pursue the realization of Bhagavan directly without having to go through first Brahman, then Paramatma, like that. So it is all, it depends on the association you get. That condition is there. From Brahman, if you want to go to Paramatma, what do you need? You need the association of a Paramatma realized person. Then only you can go there. So if he wants, he can continue to stay in the Brahman position and then gradually rise up to Paramatma realization and then to the realization of Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many examples of this in Vedic literature. The four Kumaras were situated first in impersonal Brahman conception of truth, but then they gradually rose to the platform of devotional service. So how they rose to the platform of devotional service? Kumaras are the sons of Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma is a pure devotee of the Lord. From their father, Lord Brahma, they heard, so they were Gyanis. They are actually an incarnation of Jnana Shakti of the Lord. That means they are Gyanis, Jnana Shakti, Shaktiavesh Avatar, Kumaras. That means Jnana Shakti of the Lord is invested in them. However, being Shaktiavesh Avatar doesn't mean they're automatically pure devotees. No, they have Jnana Shakti. They were Jnanis, perfected Jnanis. But then even the Jnanis, when they got the association of a pure devotee, their father, Lord Brahma, from him they heard about the glories of the Supreme Lord. By that they got this desire. How they got this desire? By the mercy of their father. They got this desire. Whatever description they heard about Bhagwan, now they wanted to see also. So that's how they went to Vaikuntha. And that whole pastime, Jai Vijay's pastime happens there. And they actually get darshan of the Lord. How Jnanis got darshan of the Lord, how they even did bhakti, how they got desire, that is because of the mercy of a devotee. So Brahmaji is a devotee, and by Brahmaji's mercy, by his kripa, they, even though they are Jnanis, now they got promotion. They came to bhakti. And not only Brahmaji, even their brother Nārada Muni is a pure devotee. So by the association and mercy of their father and brother, that's how they were able to, being Jnanis, they were able to go to higher platform of bhakti. So there are many examples of this in Vedic literature. The 4 Kumaras were situated first in the impersonal Brahman conception of truth, but then they gradually rose to the platform of devotional service. One who cannot elevate himself beyond the impersonal conception of Brahman runs the risk of falling down. Yes. So this is while you are still in this body. Okay. If you give up this body and if you go and merge into Brahman, then there is no falling down. But you can be Jivan Mukta. In this body, you are already liberated. You are Jivan Mukta. However, while in this body and you are even in the stage of Brahman realized Jivan Mukta, but if an offense happens by you to the devotee or to the Lord, then you will fall down even from that Brahman realized position. That's the point here. Okay. So, one who cannot elevate himself beyond the impersonal conception of Brahman runs the risk of falling down. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that although a person may rise to the stage of impersonal Brahman without going further with no information of the Supreme Person, his intelligence is not perfectly clear. Therefore, in spite of being raised to the Brahman platform, there is the chance of falling down if one is not engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. Yes. So, because if you're not engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, you don't understand the significance of offenses. There are many examples given in Shastra. One, I think this is given in Vishnu Dharmottara. So there it is said that one person who was Brahman realized, Jivan Mukta, and the Lord's Ratha Yatra was going on. And because he's a Jivan Mukta, he didn't follow. When you see the Supreme Lord in the Rath, if you see the Lord going, his parade is going on, you should walk with the Lord for some distance. Otherwise, it's an offense. He didn't go. As a result, he fell down from that position of Jivan Mukta stage, he fell down. So that is why to simply keep yourself in that position is risky, just in Brahman realized position. Once you merge into Brahman, then there is no falling down. But as long as you're in this body and you're just maintaining that position, you never know when an offense might happen. Because you don't know, you don't understand, or you don't give any importance to that maybe, or you don't know. And when an offense happens, then you will fall down. Therefore, in spite of being raised to the Brahman platform, there is the chance of falling down if one is not engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. In the Vedic language, it is also said, Rasovai saha rasam hyevayam labdhva nandi bhavati. When one understands the personality of Godhead, the reservoir of pleasure, Kṛṣṇa, he actually becomes transcendently blissful. Yes. So, complete understanding. The point is complete understanding of the absolute truth is Bhagavan. I think I will stop here and continue tomorrow because it's been a while that we started the class and still we have more purport remaining. But how do I bookmark it from here? Maybe I'll just finish this paragraph. In the Vedic language, it is also said, Rasovai sahar rasam hyevayam labdvanandi bhavati. When one understands the personality of Godhead, the reservoir of pleasure, Kṛṣṇa, he actually becomes transcendently blissful. This is from Taittiriya Upanishad 271. The Supreme Lord is full in 6 opulences, and when a devotee approaches him, there is an exchange of these 6 opulences. The servant of the king enjoys on an almost equal level with the king. And so eternal happiness, imperishable happiness, and eternal life. That means Satchidananda. Eternal happiness, imperishable happiness, and eternal life accompany devotional service. Therefore, realization of Brahman or eternity or imperishability is included in devotional service. This is already possessed by a person who is engaged in devotional service. So we will discuss that further in the next session. We will stop here. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrindi ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo Ananta Koti Vaishnava.